G'day team, and welcome to episode 22 of Runners Only with Dom Harvey. On this episode, Harriet Cane.
Yeah, it was a really scary thing because I was obviously not able to be there for him, and he was saying I'm going into surgery and they needed to get it sorted. So I just had all these questions I wanted to ask, and will you be okay? Being paralysed, there was just so many things going through my head.
Was there a real chance of that? Is that what he said to you, or you just thought
he had that fear that
panic?
could be?
She's so much fun, and in this episode we discuss her relationship with running and her competitive spirit, her relationship with Sam, including how they met and how he proposed. You've got to stick around for this. It's a hilarious story. She talks candidly about her struggles with mental health a few years back and what she does now to ensure she stays on top of things. And we discuss the anguish of watching the person you love getting badly injured on TV. First of all, thank you very much to the sponsors of this episode of Runners Only with Dom Harvey, Fisherman's Friend. Fisherman's Friend. A fun fact about Fisherman's Friend, which I learned, they were invented in 1865, and the reason it's called Fisherman's Friend is the original idea was to help fishermen with their respiratory problem. So the lozenges became known as a friend, and they were for fishermen. There's so many cool flavours. There's the original Fisherman's Friend, the honey lemon if you've got a sore throat. There's the black currant. There's the mint. Real handy thing to have in your handbag or in your pocket or by your car. Just chuck one in your mouth. Your breath will be good. So thank you very much, Fisherman's Friend, for making this episode possible. Really appreciate having you guys on board. All right, let's get into it.
Hey, Runners Only, yeah, let's get it started. Hey, this is Runners Only with Dom Harvey. Fast paced, slow and steady, anywhere you coming. Just wanna connect for everyone who loves running. This is Runners Only, yeah, let's get it started. Hey, this is Runners Only with Dom Harvey. Fast paced, slow and steady, anywhere you coming. Just wanna connect for everyone who loves running. Hey, Runners Only with Dom Harvey.
Runners Only with Dom Harvey and Harriet Cane. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, I'm sitting in your gorgeous house just out of Narrawa here. Thank you for having me here today.
No worries. It's a pleasure to be on. I love running. Always love running. And I that's probably one of the things I enjoy talking about. It's something that I've kind of grown up with, and I've done it all through school, and I feel like it's the only thing that I do that I can kind of clear my head and also like push myself to the absolute limit. And when I can't do it, it sucks. But
so you're very, very heavily pregnant at the moment. Like your due date's only a few weeks away. So I'm guessing you haven't been able to run. You must be missing that.
No, not since probably week 18 of my pregnancy.
Right.
And I mean, probably a lot of women will know this, but I produce a high level of relaxin hormone, which means that the pain in my pubic bone is just really extreme. So that about a few weeks before that, I was just running to try and, get over the pain, but it just was still there. It could get worse. And it was annoying. It was disappointing because I loved running, and I thought, I want to be that, that mum or that pregnant mum who could run right up until they were full term. But that was just never the case. So
I don't know how I can't imagine how uncomfortable it would be to run when you're heavily pregnant.
I know. I wouldn't even know.
So when did you start doing events? Was this at school or was this after school? Like when was your first proper half marathon?
So proper half marathon was after school. I did one in the Mount, actually. Amazing. Really loved that. You go around the Mount a couple of times. And that was probably maybe a year after I was, out of school, I think.
Right.
And I just loved the level of intensity and pushing yourself to the absolute limit. I always loved that because when I was at school, I used to do rowing, and that requires a huge amount of intensity and mental toughness that, you can kind of, a lot of us really loved it, and you just got to kind of put your mind into it, and it required a lot of self-discipline and, sacrifices socially, especially.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've read interviews that maybe your husband Sam Cane's done, or maybe you've done together, and he talks about you being the most competitive person that he knows. I can see that. I can see you're the sort of person that's never going to just, be running for joy. Like you run a half marathon, and then the next one you want to try and beat that time.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
fair?
how it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh God, does it annoy you being you sometimes?
Yeah.
With
Well, like sometimes I just wish I would do something not to that level of intensity. Yeah. Like I could just run out and then be like, hey, you know what, I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy this. Say it the amount of times and then it never ends up happening. So it's like, oh, no, this is my personality, I think.
And you can't change it. No. But are you like that with everything?
I tried to do social netball. So
oh, that's never social though.
No, it's not. And I was like getting so annoyed with the people, rubbing up against you and trying to nudge you. And I was just like, get out of my way kind of thing. And it just ended up being an unsociable kind of event. But it was fun. I'll give you that. It was definitely fun. I don't really think I'm made for doing social things.
Out for social things. Yeah, well, I mean, can you do anything for fun? Like, so, say you and Sam have got an evening at home and you're, I don't know, like
game?
Playing a game or...
So this is funny actually because I'm very competitive with games also. Like it's...
What are we talking, like anything?
Games.
So, what about something like Connect 4, like a nothing game?
Yeah, anything like that. Pretty much, like I'll get frustrated if I don't win. And we'll go, okay, are you ready for this? This time I kind of just, I don't know, I just love winning.
Is he a competitive person?
He is, absolutely.
Oh, no, but I'm thinking like he's probably obviously very, very competitive with his job, which is rugby, but is he able to compartmentalise so he doesn't care too much if you beat him in a board game or is he, are you both playing for keeps?
Well,
oh my God.
We've actually just started playing this game on our phones called 500 and you play in pairs and he's been my partner. But it's been funny because he's like, oh, you're not going to give up on this, are you? And I said, no, I'll be fine. Like, I'll give it a go. And then it's got to the point now where we're quite obsessed with it. And he'll stuff something out and he'll get really annoyed with himself. And then he'll get angry at me if I kind of haven't remembered the suit or what it might be. And then, it's just kind of ends pear-shaped because I just said, well, I'm not going to play with you if you're going to get grumpy at me. So we're kind of equally the same in that sense.
So who, like in the relationship dynamic, I find in any relationship I've been in, there's someone that always sort of ends up being like the boss, I guess, to a degree. Who is it with you guys? Obviously, he's a very good captain and very good at managing people, but does he just let you have it because it's the path of least resistance? Who's the boss of the home?
Depends what mood he's in,
right.
I think. We like to think we're both the boss, but it really depends on the situation. Yeah. Like, I would like to say I'm the boss in the kitchen because I love cooking. Always loved it. But, yeah, we're always challenging each other on things, how we can be better kind of, whereas it's just...
I could see that. You both push each other to be better all the time.
Yeah. So it's good. Yeah, it's really good. We've got good communication and if someone doesn't like something, bring it up pretty easily. Whereas I think he's developed me a lot in that sense, where I was never like that. Never good at apologising or putting my hand up and saying, sorry, I was wrong. But now, he's definitely helped me in that regard, so it's good.
Yeah, and you've probably helped him in other regards as well.
Yeah.
Like maybe being more competitive. Yes. I don't know. So the running, you as well as that, you've done you've dabbled in triathlon as well. I saw on Instagram you've done like a 70.3, which is a half Ironman.
Yeah.
You've done two of them? Two. Yeah.
So originally it was actually only... I kind of just thought, what am I going to do? I want something that I can really push myself, commit myself to. And so I took up the 70.3 and I thought it would be cool to tick off my bucket list. And I trained for a good year. I got a really good trainer, Nick Gill, who is the All Blacks trainer, strength and conditioning coach. And he's done gazillions of full Ironman, so I knew I was in good hands. And it was just, I really loved the training style. I've never been introduced to zone training, which is used for your endurance and to build your endurance. You don't actually have to push yourself, which is what I couldn't get in my head. I thought, this is...
What, you don't actually have to push yourself sometimes or never?
A little bit, but a very small percentage of your training you're actually pushing yourself. So it's maybe 5 to 10% of your full training schedule that you're pushing yourself.
Right, because if you were training by gut rather than following like a program done by someone that knows what they're talking about, you just go hard out.
I would just max out until I couldn't do it any longer. So,
So the training was, you say it's easier than what you would have anticipated?
And more enjoyable, because there'd be times where I think, oh my God, I have to go out and do this run or this bike or this swim, and think, I'm going to have to push myself to the absolute limit, and I'd put it off the whole day and think, okay, I'll just go and do it. Whereas zone training, you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to get my heart rate to 140 and it's not going to go above that, and it's enjoyable because you can actually still talk at that pace. And I loved it. And that's probably why I stuck at it, and I wanted to see results, and you did see results.
By the way, for anyone that doesn't know what that is, a half Ironman, can you just give us the length of the things?
So it's a 2K swim, a 90K bike, and then a half marathon, which is 21 kilometres.
Yeah. So if I ever do one of them, and I dare say one day I will, it'll be...
I'm sure you will, Dom.
To see... It'll be to see if I could then do a full Ironman, which I suppose is the holy grail, the ultimate. Is that what you were thinking as well, or...
Yeah, well, I was thinking, how the heck... I mean, even those numbers, 2K swim, 90K bike, 21K run.
It's bonkers.
It is a long time to be, exercising for. And I kind of never really thought I was going to do it, but I did do it, and I ended up doing another one. So, I must have enjoyed it.
The second one faster than the first one?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, you must have been spewing at yourself.
I know. So this is where... my whole training, goes out the window with the zone training, because my personality got in the way of things, and because I wanted to push myself, I thought, okay, I'll just push myself a little bit more. I know I'm not in that zone that I need to be to, go the full length, but I should be all right. And
so you just thought you go harder than what you should do, and then just hope you can hang on.
Yeah. So my heart rate was probably about 15 beats over what it should have been during my bike.
That's a lot.
Weirdly enough, I didn't feel too exhausted. I was just like, I should be okay for my run. Got to my run, and within about 3 or 4 kilometres into it, I just was done. I had no fuel left in the tank. I was chugging down sachets of sugar and water and Powerade, everything that I could get myself into, because I thought, maybe it's energy. Maybe that's what I need to get into me. No, it just didn't work. And the last about 15K of my run was just absolute agony. I was thinking, doing all of the self-talk in my head, thinking, how am I going to get myself over this line?
Because you're saying the last 15 Ks, but you're only 6 Ks in.
I know.
Your run is just beginning.
Exactly. So it was awful. Like the feeling, I was like, I have to stop. I'm going to stop in the next kilometre. That was kind of my self-talk. But then I would keep pushing. But yeah, my run in that second half Ironman was 45 seconds slower in terms of each kilometre than my first. So
45 seconds per kilometre slower.
Yeah, it was 5:45 seconds per kilometre. So on average, so that's massive. That's massive. I just had nothing left in the tank, and it would just keep dropping. So I started off about 5-minute Ks, and then it just dropped. But that was pretty much the only way I was going to get to the finish line. Yeah,
in a lot of ways, that's probably. Do you feel like that's the best thing that could have happened to you, like moving forward? I feel like when you fuck up badly like that, you learn so much more about yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know that what I learned from that was, zone training actually worked for me. Like I should have just listened to the numbers. I should have trusted that process. And then if I do it again, I'll absolutely, go out there and just, stick to the schedule, the training schedule that was given to me. Yeah. But yeah, it was an amazing feeling. Nothing can beat a feeling like that, crossing the finish line and knowing what you've just achieved.
Yeah, and in some ways, even though the time was slower, in the second one when you finished, when I'm sure there were like deep, dark moments when you wanted to pull out, like the feeling of pride that you actually stuck with it and got there, that must be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's crazy what your mind can do, like mentally. It was like a whole hour, over an hour that I was trying to tell my body to stay in this, and my body and my whole, body was like, no, stop, you just can't do this. Yeah. But you felt like you just couldn't. You're letting yourself down if you do that. So
I can't imagine you ever having a DNF in a race. You just like hang in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's go way back. So you were raised on a dairy farm, not far from where we live. Yeah. And your parents are still there?
Yes. So my parents still run the farm, and they both. So my dad still lives in Hamilton. Mum lives in Taupo now, and I just love the farm life.
Yeah. Where did you go to school?
Waitarima and Wairinga School. So that was. No one's probably ever heard of those before. I mean, everyone says, "Where did you live?" And I said, "Oh, Haniwai," but I don't think anyone's going to know where that is. Yeah, it's just kind of on the way to Kowhara. So
right. And when did you decide you wanted to get into ECE, early childhood education? Because that's your job, right? You're not working at the moment, but you're a kindy teacher.
Yes. So I didn't actually know what I wanted to do after school. Did food and wine course. Love food. Still do. Cooking and baking and whatnot. And then I was nannying at the same time. So I had a love for children also.
Because they're easy to boss around.
They are. And they're funny little things too, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then I kind of thought, was working in hospital for about 6 months, and I thought, this sucks. Like, I hated the hours, the pressure, just didn't like it at all. And then I did a 3-year degree in early childhood education. From there, I've just been working in early childhood and really enjoying it, so it's good.
So you and your husband Sam, he's a little bit older than you.
Yep.
So I'm guessing he was
4 years. Yep.
Okay, so he would have been playing in the Chiefs when you were at university or still at school in the last years of school?
No, I was still at Wintec.
Wintec, yeah.
So I think it was my first year actually.
Right.
I was in Wintec.
Were you a rugby girl? I feel like, because I lived in Hamilton for a while, and it's I reckon Hamilton and Waikato and Canterbury are the two big rugby areas of the country. People have the Mooloo bells.
Yeah, they do.
So rugby players here are like rock stars. So even if you're not into rugby, you know who they are.
Yeah. I guess kind of yes and no. Like I would, my family is really into rugby. Like my dad loves rugby. So I guess yes and no. Like I would go to some of the games definitely in Hamilton, but I kind of didn't really know the rules or anything like that.
Nobody does.
No. In fact, when I first met Sam, I said to him, what's that C in front of your name? And he was like, are you serious? Because you
could get that cap done, right?
Yeah, right.
You could work that out.
I was like,
were you thinking position like centre?
Yeah, I was like, what does that mean? And then a lot of my friends were like, are you kidding me right now? And I was like, oh gosh. Really put my foot in it.
He probably thought you were like doing that thing where you play cute.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm being serious.
So did you, like before you knew him or met him, were you like, oh, he's quite a good looking guy? Or did you have a crush on any of the other players?
No, You'd
be too young for Kahu, yeah. That was maybe before your time. He's
good looking though.
Best looking chief ever in my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You may disagree, but...
No, I agree. So I met him over in the Mount. It was after a gig, and I think it was a friend who was friends with one of his friends, and we were just chatting. But we weren't really chatting. We just knew each kind of friends of friends and everything.
Okay.
And then about a few months after that, I was in town and he was in town at the bank by Brasserie in Hamilton.
Just could have been worse, could have been the Outback.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is about 6 years ago.
Yeah. So yes, he was dead sober, and I wasn't. It was my birthday, so we were out with a group of friends.
You didn't have like a sash on or anything?
No, nothing like tacky like that.
God. Okay.
Yeah, I think he would be completely put off if I had something like that on. And then. Yeah, so I guess it was my friends, we're quite friendly with some of the Chiefs players in that team because we're kind of the same age. And then, we just got chatting. I initiated the conversation, actually.
I read about this. You did a magazine article. So you went out, this is, was this drunk courage? I feel like sitting face to face with you and hearing how competitive you are, even if you were sober, like this is probably how you'd approach the situation.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, I just went straight over to him.
And asked if he was single.
Not quite like that, but I did actually ask him if he remembered me, and then he said no, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit awkward. Yeah, so I asked if he remembered me at the Mount, and then he said no, and then he said, actually, I think you were that chick with the long brown legs, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I was. And then we just kind of went from there, really. It's just history, really. Yeah.
So what happens then? You swap numbers or you dance for a while?
He asked for my number, and then the following night we both were out, actually, except we'd both been drinking. So, yeah, it was a lot easier to kind of chat.
Of course, same level.
Yes, yeah. So, and then he asked for my phone number, and that was that.
And kind of like love at first sight or a bit of a slow burn?
I don't know. I guess so. I don't know. We just really clicked with like
immediately.
A lot of the same likes, which was and we felt like we had known each other for longer than years. It was it was cool.
Amazing.
Same backgrounds in a sense, farming, and we just we liked the same things.
I mean, yeah, because there is that saying that opposites attract, but then there's also, I suppose, a situation where you've got people like you who are both competitive and both very driven and stuff, which is, identicals in a way, but I suppose it just drives you both to be better. And
well, because I think opposites attract, I'm kind of like, oh, is that true? Because say if I was really into exercising and, my partner, husband wasn't, that would suck because you kind of want to be able to do things together. Like you really want to be able to kind of build that connection and be able to do stuff together because, that's your life partner. Yeah,
and it must have been really nice for you and for Sam as well, I guess, when you did your Half Ironman events and he's there like supporting and watching. I mean, it's probably normally you
the other way around,
being in a stadium with a whole lot of other people.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah,
and I think he loved that fact about it too because he was able to support something that I really loved and that I really worked hard for. And from that, I probably would do more because, we've both got different hobbies then. We both like to challenge each other and I like to go out and try something new and, who knows what's next on the agenda.
Well, motherhood next.
Motherhood,
Yeah, I can't imagine you using motherhood as an excuse for very long. You don't strike me as the type that I'd see him 2 years from now and you go, well, I'm struggling to shift the baby weight.
Yeah.
You want to do some more 70.3 events, more half marathons? Do you want to do a full marathon?
I'd actually really like to do a full marathon.
Oh, you'd smash it.
Yeah, I kind of, I've always wanted to. So I've done the halves, just never went to the full extent of doing a full. And obviously my like of running. So, I definitely want to do a full. And we'll see about a full Ironman. It would be quite cool. But it's just time-consuming, very time-consuming.
So much training, yeah.
A whole nother level compared to a half.
Yeah, what we need is for you to have the baby and then Sam to have another very bad injury. That's going to see. No, that's the last thing we want. How have you dealt with things like injuries and stuff? That's got to be the weirdest thing, like seeing the person that you love, getting hurt. Sam's had some really bad injuries. So for these things, have you been at the grounds or have you been at home watching it on TV? That's got to be one of the hardest things to deal with. What's he had? He had he's had a neck thing and a back thing.
So it was a fracture to his C7. That was definitely by far the worst.
Right. Where was that?
Scariest.
Were you there?
That was in South Africa.
Right.
And I wasn't there. I was actually going to sleep and then my phone kept ringing. And I was like,
because was it a South African game where it was in the middle of the night sort of thing? Okay.
So I just watched the game and then maybe an hour or something after getting the phone, it kept ringing and I was like, I'll just answer it in the morning. But then I eventually answered it and it was Sam and he told me exactly what happened and I thought, holy shit.
Because so you watched the game and then went to bed, so you saw him leave the field.
However, I just didn't think it was as bad as what it was.
So I can't remember, was he stretchered off or did he walk off? Walked off. Oh, okay, so you thought,
I thought,
concussion
maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I actually did think it was concussion.
Right.
I didn't think it was anything to do with his spine.
But here we are. It sounds like we're just like dismissing concussion. Yeah, we're not, but compared to what it was.
Sorry,
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, it was a really scary thing because I was obviously not able to be there for him and he was saying I'm going into surgery within a few hours, like it was really an urgent thing and they needed to get it sorted. So I just had all these questions I wanted to ask and will you be okay? What being paralyzed, there was just so many things going through my head. Was there a real chance of that? Is that what he said to you or you just thought there's... It was, yes, there was that slight, he had that fear that could
panic. Be. Was he crying on the phone? Is he does he get scared and emotional or is he quite stoic?
He's very reserved in the sense he never cries, but he just, when he's in pain.
Scared or,
He was just absolutely devastated, and he said the pain, especially after the surgery, when he came out of surgery, being in that position where you cannot move, was just the worst pain he's ever been in his life. And then luckily...
So was he on like morphine or something like that?
Yeah, he was probably on. Yeah, he was on literally everything.
Still painful though.
Yeah, yeah. God. So I was lucky enough to get on a plane with my mother-in-law, Kathy, Sam's mum. So we went over and we stayed with him for a week. And yeah, he was, millimetres away from being paralysed, and still to this day it blows me away to see not just being able to walk and do, life the same, but play rugby to his extent, and play, really good rugby. It's just incredible.
It's inspirational. And this is your interview. This isn't his interview, but remarkable. And like as someone that doesn't do physical sports at all, you try and imagine yourself in that position and how you overcome the fear to put your body on the line again after that and commit and do what's required for that job. It's just mind-boggling. Like if something happened again, would you want him to stop?
I've always had the kind of, mindset that if someone really loves what they're doing, then you can't kind of take it away from them. You obviously express your kind of concerns, or that it is scary for you, because it is, and you don't know what's going to happen, but they love it and they trust themselves, and
That flight with his mum must have been the worst 30 or whatever hours in your life.
It was, yep. We did get put forward to, can't remember what it was, but it was like the one in between economy.
Oh, premium economy.
Yes, and then we had business on the way home, so that was really nice. Yeah, we were really well looked after.
Well, I suppose on the way back, Did he come back with you on the flight, or was he still over there a bit longer in recovery in hospital?
No, he came back.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, that must have been I suppose you could breathe at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew kind of the recovery and what that was going to look like, and it was going to be a long road, but just the fact that he would recover to back to his full kind of potential really was just like
remarkable.
Yeah, a really good result.
It's up there with I think with Tiger Woods playing golf again after having that car crash 14 months ago. Like it really is. Could have been a career ender.
Exactly.
So on this, how long did the recovery thing take when he got back home? Is it a big recovery process?
It was very big. It was probably at least 6 months.
And where do you sit on that? So he's competitive, you're competitive. Are you pushing him to recover faster, or telling him to hold back?
No, definitely not pushing him. Definitely, I would be.
But he just he's pushing himself as hard as what he can, and you're like, don't do so much.
He's the same with me in the sense that he just wants to get better fast, and frustrating because there's only so much you can do, and you can't push yourself because your recovery might take longer or whatever. But it was actually when he was told, he was in this neck brace, and they said, you're going to be, out of this by December, which is when we had our engagement party. So we're like, yay, we don't have to be in that for our engagement party. And then he went and saw the specialist up in Auckland, and they said, so we thought he was getting it off, but no, he was going to have it on for another 4 weeks. And it was just absolutely devastated him because it was so uncomfortable.
Was it like a neck brace or a back brace? Or
neck, so just neck brace, which meant he had to rotate his whole body.
Like a robot, like a Thunderbird.
Like a robot. In fact, it was quite funny after he got it off, because you would still see him turning like a robot, and he didn't even have it on. Like it was just
just because it had become like a
normal
instinct.
habit. Like habit for him, where he's like, I need to kind of get it out of my head that I don't have the neck brace on anymore. But it was hard to watch him because he just was in pain. It was so uncomfortable all the time, sleeping, everything.
It's very different because it's not an injury or something like that. But I suppose now, like with the baby coming up, the roles are sort of going to reverse. Like he's going to be the helpless one that's standing there next to you while you're in hospital in immense pain, wishing he could do something but unable to do anything really.
Yeah.
It's like a full circle sort of thing.
Yeah, I know. He's got that Danish blood in him, so I know he's going to be good at,
What's the Danish blood thing? I haven't heard that before. What does the Danish blood thing mean?
So his family's Dutch.
Yeah.
And they came over to New Zealand years and years ago. And so I actually heard from Kathy saying that Dutch people are, really strong-willed and know what they want. They're really organised.
They can seem quite rude or abrupt because they can be quite matter-of-fact.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and Sam is like that. He's really straight to the point. Doesn't beat around the bush for sure.
Right. So did he get the? Was it a happy ending? Did he get the brace off in time for the engagement party?
No, he didn't. Sorry, that was.
So you got photos of the engagement party, and he's
and he's in this brace, but yeah.
So back before the engagement party, who proposed to who? Did you propose to him, or did he propose to you?
No, he proposed to me.
Did you know it was coming? How long had you been seeing each other at that point?
A
couple of years, few years?
Yeah, I think about 3 years.
Right. Well, it's a complete surprise.
Yeah, but it's funny because I'm one of those people who really like to kind of push buttons and find out when this was going to happen.
Do you hate surprises?
I love them, but I was kind of like, oh, when's this going to happen? I was hunting around his luggage to try and see if I could find a ring and stuff. So
I'm sorry, but that sounds like a person that hates surprises.
I know. Which is weird because we've actually we've decided not to find out the gender of our baby.
Oh, have you not? You haven't done a gender reveal?
No.
Have you got a vibe? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
We think it's a boy.
Why do you think that?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
have that inkling, but I mean, it's 50-50 chance, right? So you're either going to be right.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you're going through a suitcase looking for a ring.
Yeah, and I couldn't find it. Right. I was going through the drawers. I was like, because he got back from South Africa, and I said, diamonds are really good in South Africa. So I thought, if he's come back from South Africa, then he's bound to have brought some diamonds back. Maybe. We'll see. But he actually put the diamonds, because he knew what I was like. He knew knew I went on for a hunt for these diamonds, so he put them up in the roof.
He beat you. Why did he put them in the roof?
Because he was like, "She will never go up there." So he put them up in the roof. Forgot he put them in the roof, and then freaked out because he thought, "Oh shit, I've lost these diamonds. Where are they?" And then remembered a few weeks later that that's where they were. But yeah, he proposed to me. We were on a trip away in Rotorua at a lodge there, and
you still at this point completely in the dark, totally blind.
Yep.
Was he acting funny or anything? Like, was he nervous? Like, you couldn't sense? Because a lot of friends that got engaged say to me, they could tell something was up.
No,
he wasn't off.
No.
Yeah.
Just that he had received his phone call that he said was like seemed really worrying to me because it was from my dad, but he didn't say what it was about. And I was like, oh, God, can you just tell me now? He said, I can tell you later, but not now. And I thought, why can't you just tell me now? What's the difference? And I keep bringing it up.
Surely he could have just made something up on this.
I know.
I'm not good at thinking on this.
Freaked out, I think. Yeah, and he attached this ring to the fishing line, which I thought was, anyway, he attached this, he got it off an idea of a friend, I think. Attached it to and then put it in this gushing water. And then said to me, would you like to drink the water out? It's fresh, it's so nice. And I said, no thanks. He said, come on, drink the water. So I put my head down and he dangled the ring, hoping, surely she can see it. But the water was just gushing so fast I couldn't see anything. And then he brought it up right in front of my eyes, and there it was.
That's the most random idea ever.
Uh-huh. And what's even more scary is the fact that I said, did you trust your knots? Because... that could have been disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, I trusted my knots. I was like,
Definitely a male friend that gave him that idea, I reckon, eh?
Yeah.
Guys are weird. Like, a guy suggests that to another guy, and the other guy goes, yeah, that's a great idea. That's really romantic.
Imagine if he pulled the string up and he's like, shit, where's the ring? What am I going to do here?
So what was the thing about your dad?
Oh, so that was that. He just asked Dad if permission to marry his daughter, and he just asked on that day.
Oh, so he flicked your dad a text or whatever, and your dad must have called and
yeah,
right.
I guess.
Oh, so. That's nice and traditional. That could have messed up his whole plan though. Why didn't he do that in advance?
I know. He was doing it with me there when I could have literally came outside. Oh my God,
But that's quite nice. Are your parents quite traditional? Like, would they have been like annoyed if he hadn't have done that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's respectful though, eh?
Yeah, and Sam is pretty polite and respectful like that. So, yeah, I just don't know what I did on the day.
yeah. So you said yes. Well, I mean, apart from the weird thing with the fishing line and the drinking the freezing water, was it quite an emotional moment? Like, you must have been floored.
Yeah, I was blown away, and I had no idea whatsoever that he was going to do it.
That's well done.
So yeah, he did a really good job with that.
Oh my God! And who's the first person you call? Is it your mum, sister?
Well, I think it was my mum.
Yeah.
And then it was.
So at that point, it can't have been much of a. I mean, obviously it was a surprise, but if you've been together a few years and everything's going well, I suppose people sort of expect that call sooner or later.
Yeah, definitely. No, it was a very cool feeling. So.
Yeah, and then you get married in Wanaka. Why Wanaka? Just because it's a beautiful place?
Yeah, we both love it.
Yeah.
We just love the scenery, the outdoors, even the running tracks and the biking tracks. Like, I could just
don't get me started on that.
I want to try. Yeah, it was incredible.
Oh, the trails down there are beautiful. There's some events that start there. Like, I'm doing the Kepler Challenge later this year.
Oh my gosh, that's on my bucket list to do.
Oh, how good. Yeah. How good. And there's another one I did a couple of years ago, which I wouldn't recommend. Starts there and finishes in Arrowtown, called the Mototapu.
Oh,
and
yes.
It's like 52 Ks, but it's the steepest thing you've ever done.
Is it the one where you stay at different lodges?
And that's one day one.
Oh, it's
one day one, but longest day of my life.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Please don't do that. Promise me you won't do that.
I can't promise you.
Right, so you have the wedding, and then did you go away on honeymoon? This is pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah, we planned to go on honeymoon, but then COVID happened pretty much, and we haven't been on a honeymoon at all.
Well, and that ain't happening ever now.
No.
So I suppose in a sense, because I saw this on Instagram, you guys did like a camper van holiday. Was that last year or the year before? Last year.
I guess you could say that was our honeymoon.
Yeah, well, I mean, will that be the last, obviously apart from Christmas break, I suppose that's the last holiday that you guys had, like, as a couple, just a twosome.
And it was the best thing we've ever done. I mean,
is that so? I was going to ask you about that, because I thought you probably learn a lot about a person, even if you're married to someone and you live in the same house.
And being in a confined space like that.
A fucking van,
there was definitely some shitty moments where you just thought, how am I going to get away from this person? There's no way
is that where running comes into play?
Yeah, true.
Why is it the best thing you've ever done?
I just think, we live in New Zealand and we've never really had the opportunity. Well, I've just never really gone out and seen places, really. So it was kind of a good opportunity to do that. And we went and stayed with some friends, and like the high country and all that. It's just incredible. Like, I would happily move down to the South Island, especially, Dunedin, the Otago kind of area. It's amazing. Yeah, so it was cool to be able to have that opportunity to do that. I mean, had Sam not been injured, we wouldn't have that opportunity. So.
Oh, what was this during the rugby season, or was this pre-season? Or
well, this was when he had his shoulder surgery.
Jeez, he's been in the wars, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. And we were able to do something like that.
So was it like was it a van or was it a camper van? Like
a camper van.
Okay, so it was so big enough.
Yeah. Right. It was it was really cool. Like, we got all the we had everything we needed. I guess the only thing was you had to really think about what you wanted to pack, because we took all of the stuff and then we thought, oh shit, we're not going to be able to fit this in. We're going to have to take at least a pack away and then store it. And even that was just there was just still too much stuff. But we managed. It was cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I definitely highly would recommend it to anyone who wanted to do something like that.
I've got no doubt you'll be an exceptional mum, and surely your early childhood education, skills with kids will help you with that. How do you think Sam's going to be as a dad?
Oh, I think he'll be an awesome dad.
Yeah.
He's actually been to a few of the centres I've worked at. And it kind of, I don't know what it is, but it kind of annoys me how good he is with children. And I'm thinking, I'm a teacher.
This is the competitive thing again.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh. I mean, I've worked in the centre for how long? And he comes in, doesn't even know the children, and they just all swarm to him. And
that's remarkable. Because I'm guessing kids, what sort of age are we talking? Like 2, 3, 4?
So these children were about 4.
Right.
Yeah.
So they've got no clue who he is. So it's not like It's not like a fame thing.
No, it's just
a presence.
He did bring in a lot of goodies from Chiefs, so flags, bubbles, everything kids like at that age, but rugby balls.
Right, okay. Bribery.
Yeah. So, no, he's really good with them. Yeah, I could definitely see him being an early childhood teacher, actually, after rugby, who knows.
Geez, it's probably a lot safer.
Yeah.
You don't get too many early childhood teachers and neck braces as far as I'm aware. No. I haven't done the stats or the research, but...
No.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he will be an awesome dad, and he's definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I know I said a few times, he's like, I really want it to be a boy. He wants a boy and a girl, but, you can't choose those things. But just because he wants to be able to go out and do things with him, boys' trips, kind of fishing, hunting, golf, all those things you can do with your boy. But I've always heard that men who have a little girl, they end up being, daddy's little girl, or kind of just absolutely love them to bits. And
yeah, of course.
It's always been so smitten with them. So, yeah.
Yeah, but people say that because I suppose you just get asked, so you have to come up with an answer. But yeah, I don't think you'd love any sex any less.
No, and I think he probably thinks, you can't do a lot of these things with a girl, but you can.
Oh, of course you can.
And do all those things.
Yeah, and if it's a girl that's just idolises her dad, she'll probably want to do those things.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very lucky. I went through myself and my ex-wife. We got married, and then you sort of take for granted that you're just going to get pregnant and it's going to come easy. And we ended up having years and years of fertility treatment, and it didn't work. Was it quite easy for you guys? Did you do that thing? It's like, we're not trying, but we're not trying, and we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Well, even that question, I find it really hard because I know there are a lot of people out there that can't get pregnant and have issues with fertility and things. So
you can't You can't worry about that too much though. I've got some friends that have got pregnant, and they've called me before they've told anyone else to say, hey, we just want to give you the heads up that. Yeah. And it's like, I don't want you to feel guilty about it. Yeah. I'm happy for you, and it wasn't in my path, but but good on you for being respectful and mindful of that.
I was very fortunate we did conceive pretty easily, and I think that's absolutely what you do take for granted is that and you hold off because there's all these things that happen in life, and things are expensive, and you can't afford to have kids right now, so we'll just hold off until later in life, and then that's when it's the time where it could all fall to pieces, and fertility is such a big issue. Reach 30 years old. And
it's amazing. Yeah, I learned so much about it. And you see the graph with the female biological clock, and it's alarming. Yeah. It's alarming how quickly your fertility drops off.
Yeah, and all the stresses in life that add to that as well. We've got so many stresses in our lives at the moment, and the food that we eat and all those things you kind of don't really think about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's so expensive. Yeah, block of cheese, $15. It's so expensive.
Absolutely.
Now, when I arrived, before we started recording this podcast, I asked you if you had a birth plan or something, because friends of mine that have had kids, they have a birth plan.
Yep.
And you seem like you're very competitive, and you seem very, very much a planner. You seem very blasé about it.
I know.
And you guys live out in the Wops.
Well, yeah, so, everything else is relatively organised in that sense, baby's room is all set up. That's all done.
I saw that on Instagram. It looks very bougie, by the way.
Thank you. But yeah, I've just kind of not really got into the birth plan. I don't know why. I kind of got it in my head, but then I think also I probably should have write that down for Sam, because I'm not going to be in that headspace where I'm going to be really knowing what's going on. So yeah, I know that I want to have it at the hospital, definitely for the first, just to be safe, and that's, you've got resources there if you need it.
Yeah.
And I do like the idea of a water birth, but I just have no idea what's gonna happen, and the chances, what if anything goes wrong,
complications and things. Yeah.
Having to go to the hospital can take up to an hour or 2 hours just getting there. So,
are you nervous? Are you scared?
Yeah, I'd say a little bit. Yeah. But I think I've had a lot of people talk to me, say it's it's the best day of your life.
Yeah, probably after at the end. Yeah.
And you can have the drugs if you need it. I want to try as much as I can to have a natural birth, but if it doesn't work,
take the drugs. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
I actually am a hero.
Yeah. I am looking forward to having a spin on the gas, actually.
The NOS is amazing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Sam's got to have a hoon on that as well.
I know. I said that would be fun.
Enjoyable.
Yeah. going to make the whole experience a little bit more enjoyable, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. Do you think the training you've done for different events over the years, and also the pain and the dark places you've been into, like in that run that you talked about in the second 70.3 where it was painfully slow, do you think that'll sort of help you in a way? Or do you think it's a different sort of pain?
Well, you hear about so many people pushing themselves and doing these all extreme events, right? And then they get into labour and they just can't handle it. And I'm thinking, I hope, like, I'm not one of those people. I like to think I'm,
What do you mean? Because I would have thought it'd be the opposite. Because it's like if you're in labour, you just have to handle it. Like there's only one way that baby, well, two ways that baby's coming out, but it's coming out regardless.
Yeah.
But if you can't handle the pain in an endurance event, there's always that option that you can tap out.
Yes, true. I just have spoken to midwives who've worked with, obviously, a range of women, and it's the people that you least expect. So it's like, well, this lady went into labour and she was kind of never really, you would never expect her to kind of, she didn't take any pain relief at all. And then there's the person who comes in and they're built to do this. They're strong, they're an athlete, they're this and that. And then they just absolutely take every pain relief they can. So I don't know. I guess it just depends on the process and how you as a person take it.
Oh God, really. I'd be in that latter group. I'd be taking like half a dozen ibuprofen before I leave the house, and if they ask me if I've taken anything, I'd say nope.
I know.
Then I'd want the what's the thing where they put the big needle?
Epidural.
Oh, is that the needle in the back?
Yeah, that's the needle in the back.
I'd want that, but I wouldn't want that. I'd want them to numb the area first.
Yeah.
Actually,
and you've seen the needle. I think that you just pass out seeing that needle, to be honest.
Just knock me out and do a cesarean.
Yeah.
That's what I'd want.
Yeah.
Wake up drowsy and have the baby there.
But then you don't want the aftermath of a cesarean.
Oh, is that pretty bad, is that?
Worse than natural labour.
Right.
Just the recovery time is just way worse, and there's a lot of pain there, and just, so... I would try. I would really like to avoid a cesarean if I can. Yeah, wow.
And one thing I love to talk about with people on this podcast is mental health. Are you worried about postnatal depression? Have you got like a plan in place for how you'll manage that if you're struggling? Yeah,
I've talked to Sam a few times about the struggle, and I've actually been battling with insomnia for the last few years. And this last 6 months, I've been on top of it, which has been incredible, and I've been sleeping. And
that's amazing. You think, if anything, when you've got like a person growing in you and it's an uncomfortable shape, it would be harder to sleep.
Yeah.
Why do you think you've had insomnia for the last few years?
I think I've just, like, the stresses. I had put a lot of pressure on myself, I think, to, be the best person I can be. And I had a situation at work when I first started working in early childhood, and I just didn't like how I was being treated, and it kind of knocked my confidence back a lot. And I didn't want to go to work, so I didn't want to get up in the mornings, and that's when it started, and it was awful. I spent the amount of sleeping tablets that I took was just horrendous, and it just makes you feel like a piece of shit. You just feel awful. You can never got on...
Like sort of hungover?
Yeah, every day, but I would even try to go through a night, I'm not going to take a sleeping tablet, and it would just wouldn't sleep. And the next day I would have no sleep, but the night before I had a sleeping tablet, so I thought my only way out of this is sleeping tablets. So it was a really bad few years, and I guess that's one good thing in that is what's prepared me for motherhood, because I know
sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
It's funny the way the old mental health thing, like everything can be going along really good. This is why I love to talk about it so much. Like things can be going along so well, and it can be like just one little thing that happens. Like for you, it's this person at work, and that can just, even when that problem is removed, the damage that it's done. Can remain for so much longer.
I mean, it was years that took me to get on top of it. And
how did you eventually get on top of it?
I ended up taking anti-anxiety medication, and I was on that before I had insomnia. Back when I was a teenager, I was on them. And mental health has been in our family. So
it has? Jeez, it's in a lot of the rural communities, isn't it? It's a massive thing.
My sister actually did a massive talk on mental health, and she's in the rural support kind of mental health community, and she's really on top of that and really supportive. And, I guess for me, talking about it is one thing that people just don't do enough of.
It's funny. We definitely need more of that, eh? And I think it's becoming more like you talk. We talked maybe for 10 minutes about Sam's like back injury or neck injury, and the mind has got to be treated just like another body part.
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly.
It gets injured, and you can fix it.
Yeah, and I think we don't actually understand or know how many people are going through stuff like that, but there are a lot of people that are going through mental health issues. We just don't know it because we may not know them, or we don't know them enough, or they don't want to talk about it. There's just so many reasons, and I also think that with this generation, it just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Social media's got a lot to
social media.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. Actually, you're probably from that. You would have grown up with it pretty much your entire life, I guess. Like, what was it when you were say 11, 12, 13? You would have been on like Bebo, I guess. Was it Bebo?
I was actually never on Bebo.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, my sister was.
So I suppose there's been like Instagram and Facebook pretty much your entire like puberty years.
Yeah. So my sister, I never kind of, I don't know, went on to that stage. But yes, it was actually, you look back on all your posts and what you used to post back then, you think, God, that's cringe. What was I talking about?
Facebook memories. It's like, do you want to share this? I'm like, no, I actually never want to see it again.
Yeah, I know, right? It's funny the things that the internet and Google, will just hold on to and retain.
It seems like you're really good at speaking and communicating, and it seems like you've got a real good support network as well. So I'm sure if things get tough, and I'm sure there will be times when they get tough with a young son or daughter in the house, I'm sure you've got the support network to get through it.
Yeah, well, Sam is really supportive. He's great at communicating, and that's probably why I'm a better communicator with him and other people, which saying, telling them my needs and what I'm scared about, for after when baby is born. And obviously this insomnia thing is a big kind of thing in my back of my mind. In a way. It is, yeah. So I am nervous in that sense that it will bring back that, and I'm one of those people who just cannot function well if I haven't had enough sleep. And you think about those people who go out and, they only need a few hours and the next day they come on, they go to work or they do this, and I'm thinking, how on earth do these people operate? But they do. And everyone's different. But it'll be interesting. I just know I've got good support around me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And how's Sam's mental health been? Like, I can't imagine it's easy. Like when your rugby's your job and you have this limited time window, and then you have these massive injuries that take you out for an extended period of time. Yeah. Did he manage to stay positive through those times, or some dark days?
Definitely some dark days. His mental health, he's just really good at getting on top of it, and he's just actually an inspiration for me because he's extremely positive and he's really good at working on things. So if something is, wrong or he feels that he needs to get on top of, he makes sure that he sticks at that and has a kind of a plan for it. And we've kind of been better at kind of making good habits and things that kind of are good for your mental health. Yeah. Like I used to be one of those people who would watch TV right up until we went to sleep, whereas now it's reading books. And now I've actually grown to really like reading books before I go to bed, or just in general.
Well, it's quite calming, isn't it? And I suppose if you're looking at a screen, it's almost like it's upsetting the dopamine levels or whatever in your brain.
Yeah. So he's always been really knowledgeable and good on that sense. And, he's just good with sticking with things. Like, with rugby, he's puts a lot of time aside for his, stretching or recovery and all this work that he needs to do outside of kind of rugby. Right. He's definitely a good support person and someone that I like to kind of look up to for sure.
Well, thanks for sharing that about him because I know that's his story and not yours, but it's always nice to pick the brains of people that have their mental health in tip-top shape because it's I say this to people, it's like you've got to prioritise that, and before you go to the doctor and get on meds or whatever, try other things first. Like try reading before bedtime, try drinking more water, try drinking less alcohol if you drink too much, try less screen time, try all those things, and then if it's no good, maybe it is a chemical imbalance, and go and see your doctor.
Yeah, he's always like, even with being sick, you kind of make up that excuse that, oh well, I'm sick, I need to be in bed, I need to just not do anything for a few days. But, I mean, yes, that's all good and well, but you should also be trying to get outside and get some vitamin D, go for a nice, easy walk, because that always makes you feel better. You never regret something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
And even he is really good at pushing me with that. And he's just like, go and do a jog or go outside and have a walk or just kind of sit outside just for at least 30 minutes, read your book or whatever, because it's that like vitamin D that you need.
Geez, you guys seem like a match made in heaven, such a good couple for each other. Imagine how different your life could have been if you didn't go over and ask if he was single in a bar that day.
I know.
That's crazy. Here we are. Oh, well, listen, I've taken up so much of your time and you've been so generous, and thanks very much. But we'll just end with some quick-fire run questions, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Harriet Cane, what do you listen to when you run? Are you music or no? You going?
Yes, I listen to music.
Yeah.
What do I listen to? Probably George FM playlist. Like some
big dance bangers.
Some big bangers.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I'm really into that kind of music. So, yeah, I would say that's probably my go-to.
I would have picked you to be a podcast girl, like Jay Shetty or some, I don't know, soul food.
I do listen to, I'm obsessed with crime podcasts. So
What is it with women in particular and crime podcasts?
I'm just so obsessed with it. Like I always try and search for crime podcasts. If I'm running to out there for enjoyment, I'll listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
Because I don't really have to focus on my run. Whereas if I'm going out to push myself, it will definitely be George FM, Big Bangers, kind of stuff like that.
To get you in the zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those will be my two go-tos.
What's your favourite place to run? Like, do you have like a trail near your family farm or near the house where you live, or a block that you like to do in particular?
I would usually just try and run from our house. Yeah. We have like a Lake D down the road, which is about 3Ks from here. So I'll run to there, run around it, which is about just over 3K. Depending on how long I'm going for, I'll go around that a couple of times. Or we've got a walkway just down the road that goes from Hamilton right towards Narrawahi, and you can go along the river. Those are usually my go-tos. So
I must say, like, we're sitting in your house at the moment. I've just been thinking the whole time when I look over your head out the window, what a great place to be to run. Like, you could go for an hour and not see a car.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
What's your favourite shoe? Do you have like a shoe that you lean towards, or nothing specific?
Hooker.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Hokers?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Hokers.
Hokers, yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of them. I've been running in them for years. Massive soles.
Yeah.
Not the most beautiful shoes, it has to be said. Aesthetically, but great if you want to remain injury-free.
Yes. Yeah, I love them. I've got I'm a kind of trail runner, so it's good for kind of off-road and trails and stuff like that. So I can. Or if I want to go for a road run, it's good to do that too. So it's vice versa kind of thing.
Amazing. You might be the youngest person in the world that's onto the Hokers.
Really?
Yeah, they're massive with like middle-aged runners and older. Like if you go to a big event, like say the New York Marathon, London Marathon, something like that, the amount of people you see, like middle-aged people in Hokers, it's phenomenal because they're just so supportive and so good to remain injury-free.
Yeah, that's exactly. So Sam's got some as well. We've only just got them in the last year. I used to wear Asics and they were good too, but definitely I've loved the Hokers.
Yeah.
Really good.
And if the people at Hokers are listening, Sam is a size 12. You can send them to me and I'll be sure to pass them on. Do you prefer to run alone or with a crew?
I probably like to run with a crew. Makes it go faster, more enjoyable. Yeah, definitely, I think.
Right. Summer or winter for running?
Summer.
Really?
Weirdly. Yeah. I really like the heat. I just feel like you can kind of push yourself and you feel real good in the heat. I don't really getting up in the mornings and it being freezing cold because I'm definitely one of those people who will chuck a thermal on, go out for a run, within 10 minutes I'm hot and then have to take it off. And I'm like, why didn't I just leave it at home?
Yeah. And runner's high, is that a real thing or a myth?
Oh, what, sorry?
Runner's high?
Well, is it kind of just when you get into running and it's like I'm going to be the new runner who loves running kind of thing?
No, seriously, have you never heard the term? How about it?
Yeah.
Runner's high, it's a thing. I don't think it's ever been scientifically explained, but if you Google it, there'll be millions of articles on it. Okay. It's just sometimes when people run, they just get a thing called a runner's high where, you might be feeling shit in a race and then you have a few cases where you're just in like this flow state where everything feels easy. Or then it can be one of those things where you feel shit during the run and then afterwards you just feel like amazing for hours afterwards. I suppose it's just like an endorphin high.
I would say that's probably that is true.
Yeah.
Because you weirdly do get like a spark of energy, and I have, even like the time of the day that you run, I definitely feel like I could run for hours in the evening, whereas if I got up in the morning, I would just be real slow and sluggish and heavy. But there has been times when, when you finish a run and you feel like your legs could just keep going.
Yeah. It's a great feeling. It doesn't happen all the time.
No.
In fact, it happens hardly ever, but when it does, it keeps you going and makes you want more.
Yeah.
And last one, Harriet Cane, what's your why when it comes to running?
Why? I love a good challenge, and I love seeing results. So when you run, you can always, push yourself to become better and do better, and you feel really good after it. That's what I love the most. You never regret a run, whereas you may think, I'll go and do a run today. I'll get this run done. But actually, when you do it, you feel bloody good after, and that's something that happens every single time. So, yeah, that's definitely my why.
What a place to end it.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for your time. Good luck for the next few weeks, and hopefully we see you in a wetsuit and Taupo at the start of an Ironman in a couple of years with Sam pushing a pram. Sam in a pram.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks so much. Really nice to spend time with you.
Yeah, thanks, Dom. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much for listening all the way through. Hope you got something out of that episode with Harriet Cane. Thank you very much again to the sponsors of this week's episode, Fisherman's Friend. Fisherman's Friend, $1.80 at your supermarket or at your pharmacy. So many awesome flavours. There's mint, original, blackcurrant, honey lemon, whatever you need, they got it for you. Real handy thing to have in your handbag or your purse or in the car with you. Put one in your mouth, keep your breath smelling good, and keep those winter coughs at bay. Thank you very much, Fisherman's Friend. And thank you especially to you guys for joining me for this episode of Runners Only with Dom Harvey. Hope to see you next week.